Hi, hello, welcome back or welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Simbulele. My name was Simbulele. My name is now Simbulele Shabalala. I feel like I should be saying welcome back to myself because really it's been years since I last posted and some of my subscribers stuck around. Thank you very much for sticking around. If you are watching for the first time, hi. My channel is about all things educational. It's been a while since I posted, as I said, but I've given it another thought. I've done some reflection and I want to give YouTube another go. So this is me coming back. I thought my first video would be about hey, life update, what have I been up to? As some of you might know now, I'm married, started working, but I think this first video about property will also kind of give you an idea of what I've been up to, but at the same time it's still educational, to people who are thinking of investing in property. So this video is about property, but in the same time I'm giving you an update of what I've been up to. So without wasting a lot of time, let's get right into it. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, this video is about all things property, purchasing your first property, how long it takes, the costs, the process, the whole experience. There's a lot more now I know about property that I didn't know then, but I'll just try and stick to the process and the experience without telling you what my own personal thoughts are about owning property, or try not to give any advice and just take you through the process so that this video is not too long. I think there will be subsequent videos to this about property, listing, buying, selling, and all those things, but this is not the video for that. We'll just stick to purchasing your first property. Okay, so the first thing I want to get into is why property. When I bought my first property at 26, that was about 2 years ago. This was in 2021. It was during COVID, during the pandemic. I was working from home most of the time, and I remember when the third wave hit, we were advised to work from home indefinitely. So I didn't know when I'd go back to work, when I'd go back to the office. To me, then it made sense to buy property versus buying a car. Like if I had to choose, because the car would just be parked in my garage, so it made a lot more sense then to buy a property. So the first thing that I did when I decided that I wanted to buy a property was get in contact with Better Bond. So Better Bond, what they do is that they apply for you at the banks for a pre-approval to see whether you're qualified to even apply for a bond. So they came back and told me that I was pre-approved. And then I started looking at property that was way less than what I was approved for. I'll try not to give any advice when it comes to this, but that is what I did. I went and bought something that was less than what I was pre-approved for. So what Better Bond will ask from you is obviously your pay slips, your bank statements, your ID copies and all. They'll apply to the banks and then they'll let you know if you're pre-approved or not. So they came back to me and they told me I was pre-approved, that I could apply. After I got my pre-approval, that's when I seriously started viewing units, and I spoke to agents. I went to view. So I started viewing at an area that I was very familiar with, Johannesburg South. When I first moved to Johannesburg, I moved in with my aunt. She lives in Winchester Hills. I loved the area. It was convenient for me. I knew where to get taxis. I knew it was fairly safe. I also am a person who loves being in nature, so it was close to a hiking trail. The scenery is beautiful in the south. I loved it. So I knew that when I wanted to actually buy property, it would be in the south. I chose the complex and unit that I chose because it was convenient, it was close to schools, it was close to shopping centers and malls. As I mentioned earlier, it was also close to a nature reserve. So I knew even if I wanted to list it someday, those would be like the key attractive points for it. The unit itself, I loved it because the people who lived there were not listing the place, so it was in a very good condition because they were the actual owners of the unit. They had done some work on it. They had fixed up the bathroom. They had added more kitchen space. More cupboard space in the kitchen and in the bedroom. So I knew that because I had viewed other units. They were either too small, or the kitchen needed work, or the floors needed work. I knew that I just wanted to move in without changing anything. And that unit was as close as to what I wanted as can be, and so I was very happy with the decision. So when I decided that I wanted to purchase that unit, I went and viewed it again the second time. I looked and checked if the lights were working, if the stove and the oven were working, and they had just replaced them, which was good. The lights were all working, the taps, if there weren't any cracks on the wall. There are now. I've seen when I opened the cupboard when I moved in, I did see a crack on the wall, but it wasn't too bad. I looked for those things. I prayed about it. Let me tell you something. I prayed about it, and for the first time ever, I feel like God spoke to me in a dream and pretty much told me that was the property that I should buy. So initially, when the property was advertised, it was advertised at 650,000 Rand. I wanted to negotiate it to 615,000, but compromised at 625. And that's something that you should know, that you don't have to purchase at the price that it's advertised at. You can negotiate with the agent or with the property owners themselves if they are doing the selling themselves. So after we reached the compromise of 625,000 Rand, I signed the offer to purchase and took it back to Better Bond. They then submitted my application at different banks and then returned to me with different competing interest rates. And I had to compare and make a choice of which bank I wanted to go with. At the time, I was banking with FNB, and they gave me a better interest rate. And I chose them, and I'm still... the bond is still with them today. So when you're purchasing a property, they can approve you for 100% of the amount, or they can ask you to put in a deposit first. I was approved for 100% of the amount. I didn't have to put in any deposit. So that's something that you need to factor in as well if you're considering purchasing property. Are you going to have to also pay deposit or not? When purchasing a property, you also have to factor in the attorney costs, and that's the transfer and registration costs. I think for me, for the property that I purchased at the time, the costs ended up to 40 to 45,000 Rand, I think, just south of 50,000 Rand. So that's something that you need to think about, transfer and registration costs. I think the bank used to give out a loan for this, but I don't think they do that anymore. I had to pay for them cash, so I had to save up for a few months. So the unit that I purchased is in a complex, and that means that I need to pay levies as well. So in my complex at the time, and I think there's still around 800 Rand a month, my levies. And then there's rates and taxes. When it comes to rates and taxes, I think you need to be the proactive one. Reach out to the municipality, ask for your account details so you can start paying right off. Otherwise, it's going to accumulate. With me, I didn't know. I never received anything. They reached out to me months later, and the amount had accumulated, and I'm still trying to settle it to this day. I think the rates and taxes are around 400 Rand. I'll double check and post the exact amount here, but I think they're around 400 Rand. And then there's utilities, that's electricity, water, sewer, all the surcharges and all. I think those are around 1,200, 1,500. Adding all that up, I think it amounts to just below 2,500. So that plus the bond, that is your monthly expenses for owning property. in Johannesburg South, a 2-bedroom flat. Okay, roughly. That's what you're looking at. So I had to pay the bond, which was around 5,200 at the time. Today, the bond is around 6,800 because the interest rate has gone up. When I bought the property, it was during the pandemic. The market was very different to what it is now. So the interest rates have increased, and I'm paying around 6,800 for the same property today, plus utilities and levies and rates. So that adds up to just below 10,000 Rand today. So those are the things that you need to consider when you want to purchase property. You want to look at the location, you want to look at the convenience of the place where you want to purchase, you want to look at safety, you want to think about registration and transfer costs, you want to think about monthly expenses, maintenance of the home as well. That is all you. So the whole process should take about 2 months. That's from viewing to getting your pre-approval, to selecting the bank that you think is best for you, to transferring and registering the property in your name. Should take roughly 2 months. So that is it this week. I'll be posting another video next week. If you still have any questions, or if you find this video informative, please leave your questions and your comments down below in the comments section. Really appreciate it. Please also give this video a thumbs up if you found it useful, and thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.